All right, good morning and welcome to Yevamos, Daf Zion, number 7. We have an amazing share for you today. We're going to be talking about, again, continuing with this concept of Essay Docha Losa Say. Can it possibly be Docha Losa Sheish Bakaris? The answer will be revealed today. You do not want to miss this. The suspense of finding out whether an essay technically can be docha. This is going to be a big revelation today. You're not going to want to miss this. And if we find out that ain't essay docha losish bokaris, I'm not giving away anything over here. So then, how do you explain the Gemara on Daf Gimel with Biz Havamina that maybe there should be Yibum Makom Kares? Where would we know that from? That is basically the summary of today. And Ian Ben Sion, we're going to be talking about an important continuation of really a lot of this year, and we've been talking about Ian Ben Sion. How does it work? What are the mechanics of Essay Doch Alosa? Say, how does it work? And secondly, what we brought in yesterday, why isn't Essay Doch Alosa a problem of Mitzvah Baba Avera? What's the difference in Mitzvah Baba Avera and Essay Doch Alosa? Say, you're not going to want to miss that either. So you're not going to want to miss a lot of things. So just turn on your computer, turn on YouTube, stare at the screen for an entire day, and keep on watching it. We're pressing it again and again and again, going back to one, put it on loop, and keep on watching the whole day. It's going to be great. Let's get started here. The bottom of Vavam and Beis. The Gemara seemingly had a proof that essay is dochel osishish bakaris. So the Gemara now rejects it. Amar Simi Rashi, the third to last line. Hi Tana lo mishum da'asi essay v'dochel osasei. The Tana of Moshavos, which talks about Mises Basin performed on Shabbos, is not because of Essay Docha Lo Seish Bakaris, El Mishum the Maisi Mikal Vachomer. Chaverim Shali, Ata Rodzim, what are their names? Chaverim Shali, you want to come on the shir? Radzela Vova shir? Agir Masha Ata Medabrim Alav? Mata Medabrim. מה אתם מדברים? אתה רוצה לבוא? החברים, מה השם של החברים שלי? לא מספיק, תבוא, אני רוצה לדבר. מה אתם מדברים עליו? על הסיגרטס? מה? איך הם מקבלים סיגרטס פחות בזול? אתם רוצים מה? You like Marlboro or you like Camel? Which one do you like better? You like Marlboro or Camel? What do you like, Johnny Walker or Chivas Regal better? Do you know what these things are? What are you talking about? These guys are talking. They're bothering my share in the middle and the back. What are they talking about? What is so important? What are you talking about? Tell me. Tell us the camera. Come here. We have to see your faces. Come, Tavo. Come, Abaya. Come. It makes it interesting. Interesting. Do you speak English? No? Okay, you just threw a word of English. He lied to me. He speaks a word of English. All right, come. Come. What? Noach, מה השם שלך? מה השם שלך? נוח ואריאל. הם החברים שלי החדשים. אני אמרתי אתמול שאני מחפש, אין לי חברים עכשיו. אני מחפש, קום, בוא, קום. פורים שמח, זה פורים השבוע, קום. לעשות צחוקים, קום. זה השיר שלי. Here, I'm going to show who these people are. They refuse to go. Here they say hi. Say hello. Hello. What are you speaking about? They're speaking very loud. They're interrupting my shir. What are they speaking about? What are you speaking about? Are you speaking about the war in Russia? What are you speaking about? No. The conflict in Russia and Ukraine? What are you speaking about? About yeshiva. About yeshiva? Yeah. Which yeshivas you guys go to? איזו ישיבות אתה? למעלה? רב שפירא ואתה גם כן? משהו כזה. מה אתם לומדים בישיבה? כסובוס? מה אתה אוהב יותר? כסובוס או יבמוס? למה? אתה יודע מה שהם לומדים בדף יומי? יבמוס. צריך לשנות. צריך להגיד לראש ישיבה, השם של ראש ישיבה שלך? של שפירא. תגיד היום לרב שפירא, בשם בן ציון לנג, אני בן ציון לנג, תגיד לו שצריך לשנות, to switch, ללמוד מסכת יבמוס עכשיו, כי זה דף יומי. זה כלל ישראל. לשתף עם כלל ישראל, כן? זה להיות חלק מכלל ישראל. לא יהיה פורש מהציבור, כן?
אנחנו לומדים כסובס, עכשיו ישראל יסיים כסובס. דף היומי. אנחנו לומדים את זה הרבה זמן.
לא, צריך ללמוד דף יומי, וללמוד דף כל יום, ואחרי זה כסובוס, כן? אתם פורשים מן הציבור, גם בפורים הם פורשים מן הציבור. מה נעשה? זה פירוט בכלל ישראל. לאט לאט? אוקיי, תגיד לרב שפירו שבן ציון לנג רוצה את זה, אוקיי? You can tell him? You can tell Rav Shapiro? If you don't tell Rav Shapiro, then I'm not going to give you a gift. I was going to give you a gift. אם אתה לא מגיד את זה לרב שפירו, so אני לא נותן לך, יש לי אוקשן, אני מחפש חבר. אין לי חברים עכשיו, החבר שלי הלך...
גם לא אין.
רק אפשר לי להיות חבר אחד, אני רק מחפש חבר אחד. מה? If you want to be my friend, listen, if you want to be my friend, you have to tell Rav Shapiro to go learn this, and then maybe you can qualify. You also have to pay $1,000, $1,000. אחרי זה, אני מחפש, I go through the applicants, we'll see if you qualify. All right? Yeah. This guy says, yeah. All right. Now you leave and don't talk in my share. Thank you. All right, there we go. One way of getting people to interrupt my share out of here. All right, Gemara continues. So Gemara says, El Mishun the Maisim Kal V'Chomer. The Gemara says the reason the Havamina in the Brisa was you learn it from a Kal V'Chomer. Hachi Kamar, Mani Mekayim Mechalem Mos Yumas. What would I do with the pasuk Mechalem Mos Yumas? B'Shar Malachos Chos Mises Beistin. When do you violate Shabbos? You're not allowed to violate Shabbos. That's only when it doesn't come to Mises Beistin. Mises Beistin, you're allowed to kill someone on Shabbos, even though it's a violation of the Tilas Neshama. About Mises Beistin, Dachi Shabbos, Mekal V'Chomer. But I would have said that you're allowed to kill someone on Shabbos, even though it violates Melechas Shabbos, from a Kal V'Chomer, not from Esei Do Chalosa, say, Sheish B'Karis, from a Kal V'Chomer. What's a Kal V'Chomer? Top of Zayim and Aleph. Uma Avoda, Shehi Chamura, Avoda, which is Chomer. V'Docha Shabbos. Why is it Chomer? Because Docha Shabbos, the carbon Tamid is on Shabbos, right? It says Tamid, even on Shabbos you bring the carbon. Tamid, Ritzicha, Docha Osa. But Ritzicha, you're allowed to kill someone, even if he's doing the avoda. It's only if he's actually on top of the mizbeach doing the avoda. But if he's just next to the mizbeach, you take him and you kill him. So Ritzicha is docha the avoda. Shabbos shenichlis me avoda. Shabbos which gets pushed away because of the avoda. You violate Shabbos and do korban tamid. Ain't no din shnei Ritzicha docha osa. Certainly Ritzicha should be docha. Shabbos should be able to kill someone mises based on Shabbos. What is the suffix of the Brisa that says maybe not? The Kamar, Hachi Kamar. Kuros Meis Mitzvah Tochiach. You should learn maybe from the burial of a Meis Mitzvah, a person, an abandoned corpse, they have to bury him. Shadocha is Avoda, it pushes away Avoda. We'll see in a second where we know it's Docha Avoda. Even if you're on your way to bring a Korban Pesach, you have to be Osek in the Meis Mitzvah. Ain't Docha is a Shabbos. Kuros Meis Mitzvah is not Docha Shabbos. We don't bury people on Shabbos. You're not to bury people on Shabbos. Maybe Yom Tov, if you are. Yom Tov Sheni, the Gemara in Beitza talks about the Shabbos. You're not allowed to. Hadar Amar Kuros Beis Mitzvah Shabbos. So the Gemara maybe you should say Kuros Beis Mitzvah would be Docha Shabbos. Mikal V'Chomer Ma Avoda She Docha Shabbos Avoda could bring the Korban Tobin on Shabbos, even though it involves Malachos Kuros Beis Mitzvah Docha Osa Kuros Beis Mitzvah Docha Avoda Milachoso. Because it says in the pasuk Milachoso talks about even the Gemara in Psachim and other places talks about. It says even though a Kohen, or even if he's a Nazir and a Kohen, he's on his way to bury. You're normally not allowed to bury. A Kohen is matami himself to bury. A Kohen is not matami himself. What's Allah? A Kohen is matami himself for Zayin Krovim. He's matami himself for Zayin Krovim. But when it comes to if he's on his way, if he's a nazir also, so he wouldn't be matame himself. But that's only for his. So Kohen Gadol actually. Kohen Gadol is not matame b'zayin krovim. But if he's on his way to do the avoda, even on his way to do the avoda for his sister, his brother, he's not matame, or his father, his mother, his brother, sister. But for mace mitzvah, goes out of the Torah goes out of its way to say lachos, an extra word to tell me that for a mace mitzvah, he would be matame himself, because the mace mitzvah is more chomer, but he has no one to bury him. Shabbos, avoda, Shabbos, which is put away because of avoda. Again, you bring the carbon tongue on Shabbos, and certainly we should learn that you shouldn't bury someone on Shabbos. Maloma lo sevaru. Therefore, based on that, the Gemara says lo sevaru eish b'chol shoseicha miyom Shabbos, to teach me, to conclude. That's the conclusion of the Brisa, to tell me that we learn from Moshvos, right? That you don't kill someone on Shabbos. The Havmin is we learn from Kal Chomer, and Namaskana says Moshvos. The God's way to say Moshvos to tell me, Gzeira Shava, to tell me we wouldn't kill someone on Shabbos. The Gemara says L'maydus halakha daiti mikar da'asi asiv dachilos. Like, what's our Havmin on Vavam and Beis? We assume that the reasoning of the Brisa was because of Esei Dochalos Yishesh Bokaris, not because of Kal Chomer. Mayoeno de Kamar, what's the Havamina that it shouldn't work? Hachi Kamar, Mani Mekayim Mechalemos Yumas B'Shar Malachos. We're going to reread the Brisa. Mani Mekayim Mechalemos Yumas B'Shar Malachos. You shouldn't violate Shabbos talking about other Malachos, because Mrs. Basin, when it comes to Mrs. Basin, he tells the Shama, you're allowed to. Mrs. Basin Daki Shabbos. The Asi Esi Daki Losa, say, Esi Daki Losa Yishbo Karis. Hadar Amar Amar. Then the Brisa goes back and retracts and says, Hadar Amar Damrion Esi Asi Esi Daki Losa, Losa Greda. That's how we're talking about a regular losa say. Losa sheshba karis mishamas. Losa say that has karis. Who says that essay is pushes away mishamas like the daki. Hadar amar, and then the Brisa goes back and says atu essay dochas. Losa say lav. Losa say chomer minay. Right, a regular case when the essay pushes away a losa say, which is more chomer, an essay or a losa say. So the seeming explanation is that losa say is more chomer because the losa say carries a punishment. If you don't do it, you get malchus. If you don't do a mitzvah essay, the Torah commands you upon tzitzis, or the Torah commands you to go say Kriya Shema, you don't do it, right? You're not chayav b'lashes for that. You just mevatel in mitzvah essay. We have to bring a korban ola, but really it's less chomer. So let's say great. Let's say shva kares mish. Let's say chomer minei v'gasi essay v'dachile mali chomer zuta mali chomer rabba. If the essay is able to push away a losei, which is more chomer than it, so what's the difference if it's a little more chomer, that it carries kares also? It's not just lashes, it's kares also. We should logically say the essay pushes away a losei shpa kares. Maloma, therefore the end of the Brisa says, we learn from most Shavos that you don't violate Shabbos, you don't give Mises Basin on Shabbos. And an essay is not doka losei shpa kares. At this point the Gemara is stuck. Again, we don't have a proof. And the Gemara abandons. Here is the answer to what we were talking about before. The Gemara abandons this Havamina that really an essay is Docha Loshish Bokaris. The maskana of the Gemara is an essay is not Docha Loshish Bokaris. So, if that's true, we have a Makor that essay is Docha Loshish, that we learn out of Sitzis, but in Kilayim. But we don't have a Makor that essay is Docha Loshish Bokaris. We're going to talk about the ramifications of this in Yevamos Ben Sion, how it relates to, first of all, the Chakira, the investigation we did at the beginning of the Masechta, how essay is Docha Loshish Bokaris, how does it work? Essay Docha Loshish, what's the mechanics? And second of all, we're going to talk about the chilak between mitzvah b'avera and essay Docha Loshish. But the Gemara now tries to figure out the Gemara on Gimel Beis. So there's a Havamina, we had a Havamina, if it didn't say Aleh from Yibam, Gzeira Shava Aleh by Yibam, Yevamos Yavo Aleh, and it also says Aleh by Achos Ishto. So therefore we learn Gzeira Shava, Yibam doesn't apply to Makom Kares. So what's the Havamina? If we didn't have Aleh, we would have thought it would work. No, we would say not because of Esei Docha Loshish Bokaris, for a different reason. Eishasach. Now, normally you're not allowed to marry your brother's wife. For example, if your brother is married to his wife and they have kids, right? And then your brother dies, you're not allowed to marry his wife. Only in case of even when he has no kids, then you're allowed to marry your brother's wife. But if he has kids, you're not allowed to marry your brother's wife. Or, for example, you only share a mother. You don't have the same father as your brother. You have a shared mother. There's an Isser. You can't marry your brother's wife. You're not allowed to marry your brother's wife. That's one of the arayos in the Torah. So Eishes Ach Hayab B'Chlal, it was generally included among the Arayas. V'yasam in Aklal, it came excluded from the general rule. In what regard? In the fact that Yibam, there's a case of Yibam where it's waived, where you're allowed to marry the wife of your brother. It comes, Torah singled it out to tell you, to learn from it to other cases also, that it should be waived. You're allowed to violate that rayas. What's an example? It was part of the general rule, and it went out specifically to talk about a specific case. Nefesh that eats basar talks about someone eating kachim when you're impure, when you're tummy, right? That carries a punishment of kares. Why does it say shlamim? Shlamim is a type of korban. Tishbet only actually kachim is bech. Have called kachim is bech. Also kachim bedek abayis. If it's kachim and bedek abayis, meaning even if it's animals that were consecrated, but they weren't consecrated for the mizbech, they're consecrated to be used to fix up to sell their money, to sell their value in order to fix up the Beis Hamikdash, not necessarily to bring us karbanos. So then you wouldn't be chayav kares if you ate them. Hakanami ha'ishzach b'chal kol arayos ha'isa. Ishzach is an erva. Lama yat. So why did the Torah mention it specifically to matter it? Lahaki shalei v'lomach ma ishzach shariyav kol arayos nami shari. We learn from there also that it's possible that all the arayos are mutter also. Whereas midami, you can't compare the cases. Hasam klal be'isur upirate be'isur. There, the klal is all karbanos carry a punishment of kares, and then it says shlamim, so that's a type of korban, which is also asur. Haka klal be'isur upirate beheter. Here, it's not the same thing. The general rule is that arayos are asur. Here, it came out of his way to say that eishesach is mutter. It's not the same thing. It's a different rule, that something that is an exception to the rule. It was part of a general rule, and it went out to show that an exception that you can't reapply to the klal, to the general rule. What's an example? You should slaughter the keves, the sheep, which is talking about a korban asham, in the place where you shech the chatas, is talking about the north of the mizbeach. Esa ola makom hakodesh, ki kachatas ha'asham hu lakohen. It says compares chatas to an asham. Shein tam maloma kachatas ha'asham. Didn't have to say that a chatas is like an asham. Ma tam maloma kachatas ha'asham. Because yasa asham mitzorah lidam davar hachadash. It's talking about an asham, which is a unique asham. Asham brought by a mitzorah after he's finished being matayr himself. The bow and yad, the bow and regal yemanis, that you have to put blood on his thumb and on his big right toe. You might think this asham, the asham mitzorah, since it needs these extra things of nesinas dam, of placing blood on the thumb and the big toe, it wouldn't be like a regular asham. It wouldn't need to throw the blood on mizbeach, and you wouldn't have to burn the emurim, the consecrated parts of the asham mizbeach. Maloma and Zainam at Beis over here. Maloma kichadas asham hu. That's why the Torah goes back and it compares the asham to the chatas. Ma chatas tuna matan dam emurim, just like a regular chatas needs. You have to place the blood and the emurim, the specified parts of the animal, on the mizbeach to burn. The gam mizbeach av asham tam dam emurim the gam mizbeach. If the Torah wouldn't have compared the asham to the chatas, because it was davar chadash. Asham mitzorah is davar chadash that needs matan damim on bo and yado, bo and ragla yamanis. You have to put blood, application of blood on his thumb and on his big toe. I wouldn't have brought it back. It's only because it says kichadas asham, so the Torah returned it to his place to tell me that it's like a regular asham. Hachanami havamin ishzach ishtaria sharayos lo. Therefore, ishzach is a case where it's mutter. Only if it goes back. That's why it says ishzach. Only where it says it's mutter, but if it doesn't say it's mutter, it doesn't machzir et klal. So then it's not. So therefore, we have no proof, right? Because it wasn't brought back to the klal to teach you about everything else. So therefore, it's a unique case. So therefore, we're stuck. So what's the havamin on Daf Gimel Beis? The Gemara tries again. We're not going to learn it out from a rule, like a rule. Davar sheba klal v'yatzam min haklal lamed al klal mematzin. Mematzin is a weaker type of limud. It's a comparison, meaning it's a svara. It's logical. Just like we find by one erva, we would say by other arayas. Ma aishazach miyam miyam. There's yibum by aishazach. Afachasisha this yabim. So therefore, achasisha, when yibum occurs with your wife's sister, your brother married your wife's sister, should also be yibum. Versus me, dami hasam chadi surah hacha trei surah. You can't compare the two cases. Eishazach, when your brother marries a woman, right, and she's not an erva. So eishazach yibum is mutter if she has no children, and you share a father with your brother. That's only one iser. Eishazach yibum matters that hacha trei surah. But here we have two isurim. We have the iser of eishazach, plus you have the iser of your wife's sister. So the Gemara says, "Ma the same mahol of ishtri." No, it's not a problem to say that, because once the Torah allows you to violate one of the erva arayos, so too there's a concept we'll see. I'm going to deal with this in the upcoming daf. Mahol of ishtri, just like one part is mutter, so therefore will matir the second isher also along with it. Left to understand, right? With that, I was going to give a shir tomorrow, explaining the mechanism, the concept of mahol of ishtri. How does it work? I already signed you up for that. Whole of it, you walked at the perfect time. Whole of ishtri. Once something's mutter. Yeah, but tomorrow is going to get in the full sugya. Yeah, but it's going to discuss it tomorrow also. So the whole of ishtri. So therefore, it should be mutter. We're not tamer. I mean whole of ishtri. Where do you know that there's a concept whole of ishtri? Tanya Mitzora shechal shmini shalom erev Pesach. A Mitzora, his 8th day. Now Mitzora again has the Tara process of 8th day. On the 8th day he brings his karbanos, right? So now before he brings his karbanos on the 8th day, erev Pesach, his 8th day falls on erev Pesach. He wants to be told to bring his karban Pesach. The problem is he saw semen omission, he saw semen, so therefore he has to go to the mikvah, carry the taval. He went to the mikvah. Amru cham al pi she'ein tful yom acher nichnas zeh nichnas. Even though normally a tvul yom, you have to wait for Harav Shemesh, you have to wait for sunset. You can't just go to the mikveh and come in to the Azara. Because this Mitzora, part of his Torah process is to bring his hands, his fingers into the Azara to get the blood sprinkled on them. Even though normally you're not allowed to go in, this one is Mutash Yavo Esei Sheish Bakaris, V'yitcha Esei She'ein Bakaris. So first the Gemara discusses the first part that he's like go to Harabayis. Harabayis is not the Azara. It doesn't carry a punishment of Kar. It's just an essay. The essay Sheish Bo Kares is Pesach. The essay Sheim Bo Kares is to go to Harabayis. Amar Rabbi Yochanan, it's not even an essay. There are Torah feel essay lays, but there's no essay. There's no violation. It's an essay to go into Harabayis. Shneimar V'yamud Yoshua B'kal Yehuda L'nei HaChatzer HaChadasha. It says a pasuk by Yoshafat, he stood in the new chatzar, my chatzar chadasha. There was no new chatzar. Amar Rabbi Yochanan shechidshu ba'dvarim. Amru tzvul yom yikanes l'machna leviyah. They said even in the machna leviyah, Harabayis, the Temple Mount, is machna leviyah. Even tzvul yom who saw carry that day, he can't go. Now the Gemara gets back to the Ishtra. Amar ula matam. What's the reason? Now the reason he being here, not that he's just going to the Harabayis, I think even going to that Zara, which normally carries kares. Therefore, even though he's a Tful Yom, he has not finished his Tara for carry, because he has to wait for Harav Shemesh. But again, the Karban Pesach has brought before Harav Shemesh, before Shkia. So therefore, since he's Hutter to go for Tzaras, he's Hutter to go, right? It's a Mitzora also is Tameh until he gets the Matan Damim, Bo and Yado, Bo and Ragla. But still, the Torah allows him to put his fingers and toes in the Azara, even though it's normally punishable by Kares, because that's part of the Tara of the Mitzora. So once he's Hutter for the Tara, so we matter him, even though he hasn't finished Matar himself for his carry, we allow him Koel Ishtri, once he's Hutter for the Tara, so therefore we allow the second Isser for carry, because this concept of whole Ishtri, Rewitao is a big Talmud Chacham. I have to convince him to really give a shir tomorrow. Julius, he came over to me today and he said he wanted to discuss whole of Ishtri, so hopefully we'll get right with that and give a shir tomorrow, an 8-minute shir, and even with Ben Sion, whole of Ishtri. Anyway, tune in to Ben Sion today, where we're going to discuss this fundamental difference between Essay Do Chalosa say and Mitzvah Haba Be'avera. You're not gonna want to miss this. See you. I didn't mean that. It wasn't like supposed to be a gun. It was just like we're excited. I didn't mean that. We're excited. We're excited. Hasa Shalom. No one should ever use guns. I don't advocate for that. And 2 thumbs up for Iyun Ben Sion. Coming up next.